Hey, welcome to the Sharpe Show. Yes, it is a special July 4th show. Yes, it is. And we are here a little after 7:30 on the East Coast. And I am here with you to talk about some things which may seem odd as usual. They're not always the normal things that I speak about. As most of the things I should say I speak about are kind of odd sometimes. But I think this is another important one, something that has moved me to think about certain things in certain ways. And I want to bring these up because today is Independence Day, right? It is July 4th. It is our nation's birthday. And sometimes when you have a birthday, maybe your 50th or 40th or 30th or 20th or a certain number that affects you, you start to look backwards and say, wow, let me start to rethink parts of my life as I turn 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever is the number you're turning. And you say to yourself, okay, did I do things right or wrong? What could I have done differently? What should I focus on? All different things you might begin to think about and kind of reassess on your birthday. It's a common thing that people do. Maybe today, America should look at a couple of things that we have done or are doing and kind of look back and think about some things that we have encouraged or maybe stifled. And I'm going to talk about Contagion today. Now, if you think this is going to be interesting, I know you do, or else you wouldn't be watching. Do me a favor, comment, share, and also click that like button. Like whatever. If you hate it, click dislike. Okay, click a button. Click the happy, the smile, the whatever, the love. Click a button. It does matter. Please click. This stuff does matter to get me out there. You know I'm always shadow banned, so please do me a favor and help out. It's important to do that. And of course, you know I'm going to mention it. Please, as always, whenever you can, support my sponsors. World Small Spoon Quiz. If you can go there, it's in the link. If you can support them, that would always be great. To the best of your ability, head on over there. World Small Spoon Quiz. Take the quiz if you can. If you already have done it, give it to others. Support it. Support other places. Please do that. It always helps. They support the show. You want to support the show? Please support my sponsor. And it's free. That's the best part. And it's free, of course. If you want to donate to me, please. LarrySharpe.com/donate. But I'm going to talk today about Contagion. Now, a lot of people, when they were fighting for us to have lockdowns and vaccines and all those things, the biggest issue they talked about was, well, it's contagious. You will affect others, right? So that's important. It's contagion. And that's our excuse for doing the things that we do because you will affect others. Okay. While I may or may not agree with that, I can understand that, right? That I can understand. Okay, that's where you are. Okay. So let me bring up another piece. Contagion. Suicide. Suicide is also contagious. You might go, Larry, how is that contagious? If you think I'm making it up, you can do your own homework anytime you want to. Suicide is absolutely contagious. It is socially contagious. As one person decides to take their life, others see it and either go into despair, which is also contagious, or go into nihilism, which is also contagious, and decide I'm going to take care of it too. I'll do the same thing. I will end my life the same as the others. That is also contagious. It is. You've noticed, and I've said it literally for 5 years, all of these mass shootings are actually public suicides. All of these people who are doing it know that at the end of the day, they're done. They know at the end of this day, they are finished. Whether they're going to be in handcuffs or whether they're going to be dead or shot by a cop or shoot themselves, any of those things, they know at the end of the day, they're done. This is their last things. Why so many of them put out manifestos and things of that sort. That's a common thing. So, Larry, are you saying that some of these shootings are contagious? Yes. Yes, I am. So if you're trying to stop a contagion, can you just ban the contagion? You can't. It goes anyway. You can ban all day and all night. It won't change. What we are trying to stop is a disease of nihilism, of despair, of pain. We're trying to destroy that disease. Is there a way of stopping that disease from spreading every place? There is. By giving people real hope for the future, by supporting our youth, Because again, you know what I'm talking about. Today, there was a mass shooting. If some of you are living under a rock and aren't paying attention, I kind of envy you if you are actually living under a rock, because your life's probably better than mine. So I probably envy you if you're living under a rock. But if you're living under a rock and you didn't hear that there was a mass shooting today in outside of Chicago, I think it's Highland Park, if I'm saying that right. I've been in the neighborhood. Highland Park. It's a nice neighborhood outside of Chicago. Outside of Chicago in Highland Park, where at least 6 people were killed and like 24 went to the hospital. I think over that were put in the hospital from a guy sitting at a very high perch and shooting into the crowd. And you're gonna be shocked. It was a young male. What? Oh my God! It was a young male. We've never heard that except for like every time. It's a young male. Now, is it once in a while not a young male? Yes. One in like what, 100? I don't know. Once in a while, it is not a young male, but it was a young male yet again. So are you going to say, well, Larry, he was probably just mad at parades because he hates loud noises and he wants to kill? No, he was clearly an unhappy person yet again. Someone who felt the best answer was to go out in a blaze of glory. Well, Larry, they haven't caught him yet. That's true. But he left his firearm there. He left all the clues there to be caught. He didn't hide it. He dropped it and ran. Why? He didn't run because, he's like, oh my God, I'm going to live and survive and go move to whatever, Canada, and live forever. That's not what he thought. Not at all. I'm sure he thought, either he chickened out at the end and said, well, let me go off and do something else and do something like that. He chickened out, or because some of them do chicken out here or there, or he's off to do more damage before they catch him. And he'll either go someplace and commit suicide, write his manifesto and commit suicide, or he'll go write his manifesto and he'll call the cops or make sure the cops catch him, and he'll do death by cop, trying to take as many cops as he can before he goes. That's a common thing, right? I don't have to be a rocket science to know this. My point is there is so much absolute nihilism, absolute lack of hope, because nothing seems to ever change. If you are a Democrat, nothing changes. If you're a Republican, nothing changes. You just keep batting your head. And here's the worst part. Now what happens in our world, and you see it, winning is just hurting the other. So if I own the lib, right, then I win if I'm on the right. And if I beat the Trump supporter, then I win if I'm on the left. What about us winning? What about you and your life getting better? What about your kids having some hope? Think about how our youth has been destroyed. And I know I told you so a lot, but I'll do it again. I told you these lockdowns were going to make things worse. I told you these lockdowns would just make things worse, and it has. You took a situation where the youth were already in trouble. They were already suffering, particularly young men were already suffering. In 2018, when I talked about how to fix the school system to get the violence out of high schools, remember that? Remember my plan, my K through 10, to get the kids, the violence and the despair out of high schools? Remember that? They all laughed at me, didn't care. And now we got that. Then we got lockdowns, and we got people being shot all over the place. Yeah, mass shootings. How are you going to stop these kids? By banning guns? Hold on. I'm going to show you what their response was. Here's the response that they gave us, because they're going to help because they care. And this is, by the way, bipartisan. So for those of you who say Republicans care or Democrats care, whichever of you thinks one party cares, yeah, here's their response. I think you'll love this. Let's go over it real fast, if you don't mind. Here's their response.
This is the mayor of Highland Park.
My name is Nancy Rotering, mayor of the city of Highland Park, NancyRotering.
Spells her name out so you guys can get it right, so she can go ahead and go ahead and make sure that you get her soundbite, because she's using this to ensure she gets her name out.
This is a terribly difficult day and the bloodiest that we've experienced in Highland Park. We're fortunate to be supported by our law enforcement community.
Why do they always have to, every single time, immediately kiss the ass of cops? I don't understand why that's required. I'm not against cops. Cops do their job. Good for you, cops. Go do your job. I love it. We need cops. I'm not defunding the police. That's silly, right? Of course not. Yes. But instead of immediately kissing the cops' butts, why don't you instead talk about what happened? But they always do that. Always. Are the cops not going to do their job if you don't kiss their butt? Will the cops just go, she didn't say nice things about me, I'm not going to catch this guy? No, cops want to catch bad guys. Literally, if she wanted to help cops, she'd stop making them give tickets and do garbage and she would stop the cops from becoming a profit center and let cops do what they want to do, which is catch bad guys who shoot people. This is what cops live for. Let the cops just do it. Let the cops do this. This is what they want to do. Awesome. No worries. Stop making them become meter maids. Stop them doing that. Stop them punishing the average Joe Schmo by writing 80,000 tickets on people and have them just get bad guys like this. Yes, cops want to do this. I want cops to do this. This is a good thing.
And federal, state, county, and local government officials who have all offered resources.
Now, whenever they say offered resources, that usually means they're offering money, but not always.
As we work to apprehend the perpetrator and protect Highland Park and nearby communities.
Okay, you're protecting them by the guy's already shot.
We appreciate that President Biden has called to offer his condolences and many federal resources. Thank you to my fellow mayors who have reached out from across the country.
The part that has always bothered me about this, is the first thing they do is validate themselves. Whenever there is a failure, this is the real reason why they kiss the cops' butts. Not because they love or hate cops. That isn't the issue. They do it because they always want to validate their infrastructure, when in reality, your infrastructure is not working, right? What you're trying to achieve, the society you're trying to make, is clearly failing. It's not working. You clearly are incompetent, as is most of government. You're incompetent. So because of that, you want to immediately go, look, it's not us. We're great. I want to thank everybody for reacting, and us and our officers have done everything awesome and amazing. No, what you have done as a terrible mayor, governor, president, all of these, is create an environment to where our youth feels useless, to where our youth feels nihilistic, to where our youth has no hope and falls into despair and lives their lives on TikTok, and also lives their lives shooting other people and wanting to hurt others. That's the environment you have created and fostered. So as soon as it collapses, you then of course go, wow, look how awesome we are working together to fix this random thing that never happens. It's happening every week.
Many of whom lead communities who have experienced this pain and tragedy.
Yes, so why haven't you done something about it? Yes.
Thank you to Governor Pritzker, Senator Duckworth, Congressman Schneider, Senator Morrison, Representative Morgan, and ISP Director Brendan Kelly for.
So then naming all these people, this is just, look, we're doing something. We're not incompetent. I know it looks like we have no control over anything and that everything's falling apart, but no. I'm going to mention all these names of people who you are paying through your taxes to be incompetent and to make sure we keep ruining the country and the nation and local communities.
Joining us today. Your support and assistance is appreciated and critical at this difficult time. Our community, like so many before us, is devastated. It's impossible to imagine of this tragedy until you're confronted with it.
It's not impossible to imagine. It's happening all the time. What are you doing about it? That's my point.
Gun violence, a mass shooting such as this, casts a much wider net of agony than what the public is typically exposed to. It's a crisis that devastates entire families and communities in a single moment, and we know it's going to take a long time, if ever, to heal. Again, I want to extend my thanks to the people and resources who are moving this investigation forward, and we all look forward to bringing this individual to justice.
Okay, look, I want you to bring the guy to justice. I do. And when you do, what will happen? You will claim victory because you've punished him. But the 6 people who are dead and their family, well, dead people don't care, but their families will care tremendously. But their families who've lost 6 people and the people who've been wounded, and perhaps for the rest of their lives, 24 people who've been wounded, maybe for the rest of their lives, some perhaps mortally, who knows if they will die in the hospital or not. Those people, what do you do for them? Nothing. You'll ask for their vote again. That's what you'll do.
On behalf of the city of Highland Park, our hearts are broken for the victims and their families. As we always do, we support each other. We are Highland Park strong. At this time, I'd like to introduce Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you, Mayor.
So what did that mayor actually say? Nothing. She showed up and said, all of our government is working. Here's the governor. And they have to pull out papers.
Thank you, Mayor Rodering. Thank you for your leadership on this.
They always say leadership, don't they? This is the same stuff they do all the time. So the mayor jumps up and says, hi, I'm some mayor, and you would have never heard of me, but now there's a shooting in my town, so you know who I am. So let me spell my name for the press, which he literally did, to ensure that the press will put my name out, so I have a chance in the long run of, moving up in a Democratic Party establishment. That's her entire goal. I want to move up in my party establishment. She might be a Republican, absolutely Democrat. I don't know, whatever she is. She wants to move up in her party establishment, so she just has to do that. Did she say she's going to fix anything? Did she take any responsibility for it? No. She complimented all her government people, and then introduced the mayor. That was a colossal waste.
Tragic day. Good afternoon. I want to begin today by honoring the heroic actions of law enforcement who ran toward the gunshots that they heard today.
Jesus Christ, again! I thought only Republicans run about loving cops. Democrats too. Okay, we all just love. Can you fix something besides supporting your own infrastructure? Are you afraid the cop's going to turn on you and all of a sudden beat you up? Is that what you think? You think the cop's going to abandon you or something? I really think this answer is all about, hey, look, we actually have, all of everything under control. This is
in particular, lives were saved because the Highland Park Police Department courageously protected and served their community.
That's good.
I also want to thank our Illinois State Police who have been coordinating on the ground since this morning with Highland Park PD, neighboring police forces, the county task force, FBI, and ATF. Our troopers will continue the investigation and search until the job is done.
Wow.
To the residents of Highland Park and surrounding communities, this murderer will be brought to justice.
Okay.
But until that happens, please follow instructions from local authorities on how best to keep you and your family safe. And please know that every resource at the state's disposal will be available to you in the days and weeks ahead as you recover from this horrific tragedy.
And I want to be clear, they pulled out paper, like somebody wrote this for them. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone just came out and said how they felt? Wouldn't it be amazing if one of these guys just came up and said, I'm tired of this. I mean, look, as much as I disagree with someone like Elizabeth Warren, and I do in many places, and you all know that, she usually just speaks from the heart. Bernie Sanders, these are guys who I completely disagree on many things. But why do people follow them? Because they don't walk up and pull out a piece of paper and go, let me tell you what my publicist told me to say. They just say what they feel, which makes people want to follow and believe them, no matter what they say. The amount of politicians and people who I've met who are just empty suits is embarrassing.
A little while ago, I spoke with President Biden, who pledged all support the White House can provide. The president agrees with me. This madness must stop.
Oh, I thought, didn't my governor say that last time? We say enough. Remember that? We just announce stuff and it goes away. Yet still we keep having this happen. Huh.
This morning, a gunman opened fire on a July 4th parade in Highland Park, taking 6 innocent lives, leaving at least 24 people in the hospital, traumatizing countless children and families.
They're not countless. This is a Democrat thing versus a Republican thing. The Democrats always use the adjective countless. It's 24 families. You can count the kids. It's not countless. A lot. Too many. Yes. Not countless, but it's countless this, countless. I've gone to countless people. You can count them. It's 24 families. Totally countable.
And shattering the peace of this community. The families of 6 individuals woke up today to join a community celebration of our nation's independence. They will go to bed tonight less than whole.
Somebody wrote that for him, and he's just saying some stuff to try to sound like he cares. Does he actually care? I don't know this man. Does he? Maybe he does. I don't know him at all. But if he cares, can't he just say that he cares? Can't he just say that he cares? Does he got to do some poem?
There are no words for the kind of evil that shows up at a public celebration of freedom, hides on a roof, and shoots innocent people.
I cannot tell. The Republicans do this garbage too. This party's doing is Republicans and Democrats together. Every single time there's a shooter, for whatever reason, they just call him evil, and he's a coward, and he's evil. Every time. That's bullshit. Because all it does is make sure that the system is not responsible. He's the outlier evil, and how do you stop evil? It's impossible. This takes responsibility off of him, the system, and our crappy environment that produces these shooters. That's what it does. Don't buy this, oh, it's evil. Oh, he's just evil. What can you do? Oh, just evil. They all do that stuff. But they're not doing it because they actually believe any of it. They're doing it so they can remove responsibility from them and their system. Well, it's just some evil guy. He's an evildoer. That's just what he is. No, you don't think about why did he do it? Why are so many young men throwing their lives away? Why are so many throwing their lives away and killing others while they die? This guy's a leader of a large state. Shouldn't he have some responsibility? Shouldn't he be doing something to fix this? No, it's just an evildoer. Republicans do the same stuff. It's garbage. It is a cop-out. Stop just calling the other guy evil. Like he had no reason to do this, no thought process in his mind. He's just a sick individual who was bent on evil and hate. Stop that garbage. Every time I hear that, I want to vomit. It takes away responsibility from our system that puts this into play.
With an assault rifle. There are no words I can offer to lessen the pain of those families who will no longer associate the 4th of July with celebration, but instead with grief. Please know that our state grieves with you, that MK and I and our family grieve with you. It is devastating that a celebration of America was ripped apart by our uniquely American plague.
Oh, now we're going to attack guns. Now, here's the issue. You would think if someone actually cared, that when this would come out, they would start talking about ways of making things better. They would take some responsibility for the problems and issues that exist today. They would do something that would make sense and say, I would like these deaths to not be in vain. I would like these deaths to mean something and to repair and to not happen again, or at least happen less, if anything. No, they use this grandstanding. I would argue that their people, their PR people, their campaign people, when they heard this happened, they were actually happy. Now, I have no evidence. That's just my feeling. Because how does this guy, within a couple of hours, have a speech written ready to come out and say these things? Because he wants to make sure he gets on TV, they mention all the people, and he can grandstand and say, see, I'm doing stuff. Vote for me next time. I won't change anything. I won't make your life any better. But see, vote for me because I can grandstand.
A day dedicated to freedom has put into stark relief the one freedom we as a nation refuse to uphold, the freedom of our fellow citizens to live without the daily fear of gun violence.
Because that's a right. So on the day of freedom, let me tell you about how I'm going to remove your freedoms so that you can be safe.
You know what I love about 4th of July? We celebrate.
If you love it, why are you reading it? If you really love something, why are you reading it? Why can't you just say what you actually love? You got to read what your publicist told you.
the founding of this wonderful nation by gathering with family and friends and enjoying parades and fireworks. Our cameras on days like this are filled with messy faces and reckless smiles.
So he thinks in his head, he just talks. You know, if you asked him off the cuff, what do you like about that? You know, I like the cameras filled with messy faces and silly smiles. He would say that? No, he wouldn't. This is what his publicist wrote and told him to put out. And you know what the worst part is? People are buying it. People are buying it.
And pretty sunsets, an effort to bottle up that unique feeling of sun-filled joy. That's what evil took from us today. That's what gun violence robs us of. No matter.
So this is all because of an evil guy and gun violence. It has nothing to do with 2 years of lockdowns, broken education system, lack of hope, the idea that our government keeps pumping out money to make sure that every 10 years is a crash, so our youth can never get ahead, that the youth can't buy houses, they can't buy cars. There's, 50% of all young Americans like under 30 live with their parents. Over 50%. It's not that, right? It's not that they're not getting married, they're not finding love, they're having less sex than ever. It's none of that. They're stuck on TikTok. It's not that. It's gun violence and evildoers. It isn't a system that you've set up that's destroying our nation. It's not that. You're right. It's gun violence and evildoers and assault weapons. We just got rid of assault weapons, everybody would be happy.
No matter the neighborhood or the city it erupts in. If you're angry today, I'm here to tell you, be angry. I'm furious. I'm furious that yet more innocent lives were taken by gun violence. I'm furious that their loved ones are forever broken.
Hold on. Is he, governor of Illinois, is he out there? And if you're from Illinois, tell me this, I'm sure. Is he out there every week saying that when there's 5 or 6 or 10 deaths in Chicago on a weekend? Is he saying that? I would bet not. But it goes to Highland Park. That's the nice neighborhood. That's when now people come out. Then that's the nice neighborhood. He's going to come out now and go, I can't believe 6 people died. Yet probably 6 people died this weekend. I don't know that, but that's how it works. So be angry. We're going to fix this. Why aren't you going to be angry at all the people dying in Chicago? Your largest city in your state. No, that's not okay.
By what took place today. I'm furious that children and their families have been traumatized. I'm furious that this is happening in communities all across Illinois and America. I'm furious because it does not have to be this way. And yet we as a nation, well, we continue to allow this to happen. While we celebrate the 4th of July just once a year, mass shootings have become our weekly, yes, weekly American tradition.
All right. Why doesn't anybody who's sitting in the back with their stern faces and being tough guys, all of those things, why aren't any of them talking about, yeah, he's right. Every single week we're having a mass shooting. That wasn't happening before 2020. Cops are being killed now. That wasn't a big thing before 2020. I mean, cops got killed, but nowhere near as much until 2020. That's when everything changed. That's when everything got bad. 2020. What happened in 2020? Oh, yes, lockdowns. It's been getting worse. And all the people who've been doing the shooting, how were they affected negatively? From the lockdowns. They're incels. They're lonely. They don't have girlfriends. They have hardly any friends. They have no purpose. They have no meaning. So they go out and they get radicalized because they have nothing else, and they go out and they kill people. Yes, but here's the worst part. They plan it. They have time and energy to plan these things. Imagine these people had some damn purpose. They could take that same energy and that same everything, all of those things, and keep going. Dixie puts out, here you go, in Chicago, violence. Dixie puts out, here we go. Here you go, Larry. 5 dead and 19 hurt this weekend in Chicago from gun violence. Yeah. 6 and 24 in this one in Highland Park. 5 dead and 19 in Chicago. I didn't see him out doing that. Chicago's okay. But this is a rich white neighborhood. That's different now. I thought he's Democrat. I thought Democrats supposed to care about brown and black people. Don't they always say that? Don't they always talk about people of color? You know what they talk about all the time? Well, how come you're not fixing Chicago? What happened? Thank you, Dixie.
Tradition. There are going to be people who say that today is not the day, that now is not the time to talk about guns.
Let me give you something that's very important. Very important. And some of you get mad at me, you know, think I'm radical enough on guns, whatever you might think about me. I don't care. If you think I'm anti-gun, you're just an idiot. You're a fool. It's fine. You can think that if you want to. I don't care. Here's the reality. When it comes to shootings, most of the time, that's when Republicans walk away. Well, now's the time. When he says now's the time, that's Republicans. Now's not the time. Now's not the time. Oh, now isn't the time. Oh, we got to agree, whatever. I'm the guy who does a live the day of or the day before talking about guns of a shooting. Day of a shooting or day after. I'm the guy who goes live and still defends guns. Always. The Second Amendment still matters. It will always matter. This isn't a gun issue. This is a pissed off young men issue. This is a young men full of despair. This is a contagious suicide. This is contagion. It is a worse disease than COVID. Yes, worse. Why? Because it kills people indiscriminately and it kills the youth. It's worse than COVID. COVID's bad. This is far worse. And it's not going to stop. It's just going to get worse. And it divides people more and more and more. It keeps dividing them to the point where eventually now the violence becomes organized. And then we're really in trouble.
I'm telling you, there is no better day and no better time than right here and right now.
Yes.
It's the 4th of July,
Yep.
a day for reflection on our freedoms.
Yes.
Our founders carried muskets, not assault weapons.
Also cannon. They also carried cannon, which had grape shot. They also carried warships. So not just muskets, also large cannons that would blow people and things apart. So all of that.
And I don't think a single one of them would have said that you have a constitutional right to an assault weapon with a high-capacity magazine.
I think they would have said exactly the opposite. Our founding fathers, okay. Now, I think he knows as much as I do about this. Neither of us knew our founding fathers. But if I had to guess, I would say our founders, who went to war over 4%, was it 3 or 4% tax, went to war over that. I think, and who had to deal with the British having men of war and ships and cannons and all those things. I think what our founders would have said is every white male between, say, I don't know, 16 and 55 is required to have an assault weapon if they knew that, and must report to the militia every month for training in case the Brits come back. That's what I think they would have said, right? They might have just gone landowners or something. I mean, they might have divvied up who gets it. It's possible. They might have said, no, only, you know, married men or whatever. It's possibly better than something like that, or maybe the age 25 and older or something, maybe only an officer class. Who knows? I mean, I don't know them, right? So it's perhaps. But if anything, if you went to George Washington and said, hey, here's an AR-15, would you like one? He would have said, can I have 5,000 of them to issue to my troops and to keep in America for the next 50 years? That's what he would have said in case the Brits come back. I think everyone would agree with that. So I don't know. I can't believe that would be true. I think he's just made it up. Also, the founding fathers didn't know what the internet was. Do you think they'd be like, well, freedom of speech is good for like letters and stuff, but not for email because I can't understand what email is? A silly concept, totally silly concept.
Or that is more important than the right of the people who attended this parade today to live.
So if there is, and this goes to my governor too, they always use the word right. If you have a right, if that's true, to live at a parade, if that's a right to live in a parade, then didn't the state just destroy all your rights? Because you died at the parade. Doesn't make any sense.
Yes, I'm angry. We as a nation deserve better.
Well, that's true. He's right.
Let us pray for the injured and those who are still in the hospital tonight. And may the memory of those we lost today be a blessing and a call to action. I want to turn the podium over to our Senator Tanya.
There we go, the senator. I want to turn the podium over to the next person who's going to grandstand and make sure they get all. I want to turn the podium over to the next person who is going to use the tragedy and the death of these people to help promote them for the upcoming election.
You need to turn the mic down. No, I got it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. This morning, I got up, like most Americans, like the families of the 6 who were killed.
Look, why is no one bothered by the fact that they read it all the time? Isn't that terrible? That they always read every time? If you got up this morning and felt a certain way, can't you just say how you felt? Why did your publicist have to write how you felt that day? His publicist wrote, what he thinks about for 4th of July. If you think about it, just say it. Her publicist had to write how she felt this morning when she woke up. And they're empty suit actors. They're all empty suits, empty head actors. You think you get, better actors at least. I guess you think they would. Maybe we should.
To celebrate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those 6 families no longer have that opportunity. My heart goes out to those families who will never see their loved ones again. And I've made it clear to both Governor Pritzker and Mayor Rodering that I would do whatever I can at the federal level to get them the resources they need, not just to catch a shooter, but to help Highland Park recover from this tragedy. I was just on the phone with Senator Durbin, who is driving here as quickly as he possibly.
Oh, I know. Oh, Durbin is driving as fast as he can. He's like, what? There's a camera and I can go grandstand? Get in the car. James, drive fast. That's what's happening now. Not that he cares for the people. He doesn't care about the people who are dead at all. If they cared, they'd be doing this every Monday outside of Chicago, wouldn't they? If they actually gave a shit about these people, they'd be doing this press conference every day outside of Chicago. The problem is, if they did a press conference outside of Chicago, no press would show up because the press doesn't care. No press shows up because it's not a mass shooter with a young white guy using an assault weapon, in which case, not newsworthy, irrelevant.
Can to come to Highland Park, and he also sends his condolences and his thoughts. And he and I recently in the Senate last month proved that bipartisan compromise on gun safety is possible.
Oh,
today we have seen that we can't just stop there.
See, last month, us and the Republicans, because Republicans, they're for the Second Amendment. Together, we just created a bipartisan way of taking away your Second Amendment rights. And in New York, we actually passed 10 different gun laws. And in Illinois, some of the harshest gun laws in the state. I mean, New York has got you Illinois people beat. I mean, when it comes to terrible gun laws, you could try, but you can't beat us. We have the worst gun laws literally in the nation. And, we're number one on that one. We got you all down. Illinois, you could try if you want to. But you have a lot further to go to be as terrible as we are. Any case, so she says, last month we passed all these laws. Well, if you passed all these laws last month, how could there be a mass shooting? It's impossible. What are you talking about? Only we had more. If only we had more gun laws. See, we just need more gun laws, then it'll be okay.
We have to do more to keep our communities safe. We have to get rid of assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and so many other.
If we just got rid of the assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, then none of this would happen. See, that's the answer. It isn't that we have a systemic problem within our nation to where our young men are broken and battered and feel like the world's ending and have no hope and no purpose. It's not that. No, that's not the problem. The problem is, see, I'm the bad guy for saying that. They're the good guy because they don't care if young men kill themselves and others. They just care what weapon they use. I would like young men to stop killing themselves and others. That's what I want to do. I want to focus on that. Let's stop young men from killing themselves and others. And instead of using that energy to plot and plan to hurt people, use that energy to plot and plan a better future for all of us. Clearly, these people are smart and diligent. Why aren't we using that? Instead, they're killing, and all you care about is what weapon they use. Well, I guess you're better than I am.
Additional common sense reforms that wide majorities of Americans are crying out for. And so today I will go home and hug my babies a little tighter in gratefulness that they are safe.
Do you know, and I'm going to tell you something, this is personal for me. This is personal. I hate, this is personal. I know some of you don't. When these guys go, I'll hug my babies a little tighter. How do you think that makes the people who lost their loved ones feel? How does that make them feel? If you're the person who lost your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, and someone goes, I'm going to hug my father tighter because I have him. I don't get to hug my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, whoever I lost. If you're supposed to be supporting me and caring about me and showing me empathy, don't say some stupid shit like that. You just make my life harder. I have to recognize that when I go home, I don't get to hug that person, but you do. So how about don't say stuff like that? Except you're virtue signaling. You don't have anything to say except garbage. You shouldn't say stuff like that. I almost lost my little girl. She was in a hospital, 18 days old, having heart surgery. I thought I was going to lose her. I thought I was. And when people would say things like, I'm going to go home and hug my daughter stronger or harder, whatever, I was just angry. I was bitter. Now, I am blessed that I did not lose my daughter. But there are people who did, people who do, people who lose their children, their nieces, their nephews, little kids, they lose them. I go home, oh, glad I got my kid. What an asshole I am to say that. Instead, I'm sorry that you lost someone. It sucks. It's terrible. That's it. That's the answer. I'm sorry you lost somebody. It's about my family.
But I think about the babies and the families who lost moms and dads and grandparents today. And we must do more. I just listened to the sound of that gunfire from one of the videos that was captured. And let me tell you that the last time I heard a weapon with that capacity fired.
Oh, God. Do your military service. Throw that up there too. Don't forget I'm a veteran. Do that too.
That rapidly on the 4th of July was Iraq.
There we go.
It was not the United States of America.
Yeah.
We can and we should and we will do better. So I just want to thank the mayor for everything that she's done. The president gave me a call as well.
I want to thank the mayor for everything she's done. Nothing. And the president gave me a call, which helped. Nothing. Literally nothing.
The White House did. And we also just spoke to the Secretary of Homeland Security, who also have pledged to send all of the resources that we need. With that, I'm going to turn this back over to Governor Pritzker.
It's terrible.
Cool.
Now I'm going to give it back to the governor, guys.
I can take a couple of questions.
Questions. Oh my God, this is going to be terrible. All right, let me just, we don't need any more of this. But now you see, this is the stuff that drives me absolutely crazy. This is the stuff that drives me absolutely. And here's what Joe Biden said. Hold on, let me show you what Joe Biden, he sent a note because he cares. Joe Biden cares. Here's his note he sent. I know you care about this.
Again, brought grief to an American community on this Independence Day.
See, Jill and I are shocked by the sentence of gun violence. It happens every month. Why are you shocked? Oh, because you passed those laws, which should have stopped all the gun violence. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Right? Yeah. And it's for immediate release. The president put it out. The president didn't do this. His publicist wrote this out.
President Biden went on to say, quote, I recently signed the first major bipartisan.
Don't forget bipartisan, you Republicans. Don't forget bipartisan, you Republicans. Bipartisan gun reform. That, by the way, didn't work.
Gun reform legislation in almost 30 years into law, which includes actions that will save lives. But there's much more work to do, and I'm not going to give up fighting the epidemic of gun violence.
So it's all about guns. No one deals with the root cause that I talk about all the time. Unhappy young men. That's it. Unhappy young men. This is the epidemic that we're actually dealing with. Unhappy young men. Young men who don't have girlfriends, young men who don't have purpose, young men who don't have a future, young men who don't have whatever the case may be, young men who feel the only answer is suicide and death. And if you spend any time, I'll use the incel community as I guess a more detailed or maybe in a more extreme community. They talk about committing suicide all the time. It becomes almost normal. My daughter, who's young, a teenager, her friends will often joke about suicide all the time. They joke about it. Ha ha ha, suicide, but kill yourself. That's a joke they use all the time. They mean it to make it kind of almost like a normal thing. That's not a good thing, but that's a common thing. Let me grab a couple of your comments if that's good, if I can. Happy 4th, Larry. After seeing the Arizona GOP gubernatorial candidate debate, after already seeing the Wyoming GOP gubernatorial debate, I'm changing my party affiliation to Libertarian officially in New York State. Thank you, my friend Ryan. I could use it more, so much. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Thank you. So Ross says, great job, Larry. If I could vote for you, I would. Vote Larry Sharpe, Tennessee supporter. Thank you. So yes. Let's see. Jackson says, is it true you're booted from the ballot, Larry? I am fighting to be on the ballot still. It's true. And guess who's in a lawsuit, civil lawsuit against me? It's Republicans and conservatives. Yes. So we will have a final lawsuit in July. I think it's July 20 something, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'll know. I will be on or off the ballot. I'll know in July. I think I will be on. I hope I will be on. We're fighting it. I think I'll be on. We'll see. But it's lawsuit after lawsuit. I have several lawsuits. The problem is the Republicans don't want me on the ballot. They don't. Why don't they want me on the ballot? Because Republicans in New York State are an embarrassment. You can be mad at me for saying it. Doesn't matter. The conservatives in this state. And when I say this, let me be very clear. I don't mean the average Republican voter. I don't mean that. I don't mean the average Conservative Party voter. I do not mean that. I mean the establishment. I mean the Republican establishment, the Conservative Party establishment. Broken. They're not doing the right thing. They're not at all. They're suing, throwing me off the ballot because they know that I often embarrass them. You can disagree if you want to. You know it's true. That's how it works. The establishment is a disaster. I want to fix that. They hate it. So they can't stop me regularly. So they have to go out and sue me and throw more money and time, more money and energy. So I have to spend more money, more time fighting in court. But they don't understand. They can't beat this Marine. They cannot. It doesn't work. They cannot beat this Marine. They can keep trying, and that's up to them. All they do is slow me down. I learned in the Marine Corps, an obstacle is something that stops you. It just slows you down. You get around the obstacle, and you keep moving. They are throwing more obstacles in my way, but they can't stop this Marine. And it's up to them. They want to keep throwing money, they will. I hope you Republicans in this state look at that and realize what they're doing. They picked the guy who's going to lose by 20 points, and they don't want to pick me who might make some actual changes. So, now that we're speaking about that, what in the world would I do? Why does it matter, for those of you who care about me on the ballot, why the hell does it matter what I'm talking about? Who cares? What do you care? Because I've been talking about these solutions for literally 5 years. I was talking about COVID solutions for literally 3 years. I've been talking about 2 years now, 2.5 years, 2.5 years. I'm talking about COVID solutions for 2.5 years. I've been talking about the other solutions for 5 years. Everything I've said has come to pass. Every policy I've come up would have made things better. We know this. It's obvious. I have the receipts for it all. You've seen my videos. I've talked about it. I've done it openly. I've done it in debates. I've talked about what we should do. I've discussed how we can fix things openly in debates. I've done that. And what do I get? Sued by the Republicans and conservatives. That's what I get. You could just take my policy. My policy's on my webpage. You could just take all my policies and run. You could do that. They don't. They take none of my policies. Why? They don't want to fix anything. Because why would they want to fix anything? Because they have to actually work. And here's the worst part. Republicans know that in a statewide election, I keep saying a statewide election, not locally, Republicans win locally. In a statewide election, they cannot win. They're never going to win. So it doesn't matter. So they just say things like Hochul bad. They've been saying Democrats bad as their entire message in this state for 20 years. And for 20 years, they've been losing, coming in second. It doesn't work. So they just throw us off the ballot. That's their way. So I hope that answers your question. So we'll know by end of July. So yes. All right. That is, many of you asked about that. I hope that answers your questions. Those of you who are asking that question. So, all right. All right. So if I keep going here, Kevin says all the mass shooters decided they're going to commit suicide before committing the mass shooting. Yes. They just want to go out with a bang. It's the incels. It's part of them. You're right, Kevin. It's not only incels, but it's a lot of them. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Stephen goes on. Yes, hope, love, caring for each other. You know, there's the thing, Stephen. You know, people get mad at me sometimes reaching out to the other side, reaching out to either hardcore statists, whether they're left or right, reaching out to them, trying to make conversation. Because when things get bad and they realize that the system is failing, I want them to know they can come to me and we're still going to talk and be friends. I want them to know that. But they seem to not do that often. And the problem is when there is love and hope and caring, like you say, people tend to not want to kill themselves. It's just how it works, or even hurt others. Right? I talk about happiness all the time. And every single thing I talked about, fixing our school system, right? So that the youth actually cares about things, right? Changing our college system so there's so much debt for our kids. They don't feel like they're underwater and can't do anything, right? Supporting the trade so that young men can start out by making money and feeling value and building and fixing things. And a lot of young men just want to build and fix things. Let them go off and build and fix things. Some want to go to college. Let them go off to college. But give these young men something to do, some purpose. Give them not just that. The problem that we have here is we're treating our young men like they're children until they're 30, and then we wonder why they act like children until they're 30. If you treat them like they're children, they will act like they're children. If you treat them like they're adults, they will act like adults. This is just, you don't have to have a PhD in human psychology to figure that one out. This is really a common sense thing. So yeah, if you give people purpose, they don't do these things. They don't. So yes. So, all right. Paula says, let's see if I can grab Paula here. New York needs to celebrate the 4th of July by voting Larry Sharpe as governor of the great state of New York. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Pete says, but Larry, Syracuse is reporting the election for New York's governor will only have 2 candidates in the ballot this fall. For the first time in at least 80 years, the 7 candidates failed to qualify on third-party lines. They've been reporting that forever, Pete. They keep reporting that. They've been ignoring me forever. But that's going to change. That's going to change. Absolutely. So, all right. John says, I hate having to tell myself and others that you're right about these situations because solutions are there and they're not being implemented. This part bothers me too. Right? Sometimes I feel like I'm yelling into the void. I've discussed the idea of treating our kids in a different way to make them satisfied and happier, getting our parents to feel satisfied and happier, stop people moving away and breaking up families. I'm the one who talks about fixing family court. Family court is crushing families, and more than anything, it's hurting men. It hurts women too. I want to be clear. There are women who get devastated. What family court does, it supports whoever's the bad guy more than anything else. It punishes the good guy. So if you're the good husband or ex-husband, you get hammered. If you're the deadbeat dad, you get out scot-free. That's how our current system works. So the good dads get punished and they pay for the deadbeat dads. Well, you're a young man or a young boy. You're 10, 12, 14, whatever. And you see your dad get arrested because of family court. You see your dad not be able to spend time with you because family court makes him work 3 jobs. You see your dad not have a driver's license because family court took it away. You see your dad do all these horrible things because family court did it. You see the in-laws and moms say horrible things and lie about your dad in family court because the lawyers say to do so. And I don't care if you're a lawyer, you know they say to do it. You know, you probably did. If you're a lawyer, you probably said it yourself. Tell them to do it because there's no punishment for lying in family court. So they've watched what they thought was their image of love. Mother and father go from I love you, I trust you, I make kids with you, to I hate you so much I will lie about you and put you in prison. So why would young boys and girls think that relationships can work? Why would they? We've given them literally, we've given them generations to show it doesn't work. And our courts don't care. They just keep doing it. Our system doesn't care. They keep doing it. These are judges appointed by the governor, system not fixed by our governor or legislature. Just watch destroy. And here's the worst part. I was the only one talking about that 5 years ago. I still talk about it. And the men who were destroyed by family court didn't vote for me. Shame on you. Shame on you. If family court ripped you apart and you didn't vote for me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I was the only one and still talk about it now. All those broken fathers create broken sons who do stuff like this. Yes, I talked about this 5 years ago. It takes time and energy to fix young men. If you don't fix young men, they do this. And let me ask you, I'm a father of daughters. Where are my daughters going to find good men? If it's a bunch of broken men in the state? How are women going to find good mates? Good husbands, good fathers. They're going to struggle just as much. And worse, if they went through family court, what did they see? They saw their father yell at their mom lie about their dad lied about their dad. They saw their mom talk bad about them. Are they going to trust men now? They're not going to trust men. They're going to become terrible. They're going to become terrible partners too because they don't believe it. So now I got terrible partners in the male side, terrible partners in the female side, all because of a system that doesn't help and make any of them feel like they can do anything. Yeah, it does drive me crazy. It does. Absolutely. The Nuremberg clip says, Larry, there was mall shooting in Copenhagen. USA doesn't have a monopoly on the attacks, not unique and uncommon in other countries. There were 2 attacks in Norway and Nigeria. Yes, there are attacks, but not as much as there are. Most of our mass shootings, by the way, are actually gang violence. But yes, there's definitely that. Paula says, Zeldin is wasting your time, New York conservatives. You got 2 choices, Hochul or Sharpe. But for freedom and liberty, she's right. Paula's correct. Either an outsider wins or Hochul wins. That's it. An outsider or Hochul wins. That's it. Yes, she continues. The Larry Sharpe K-10 plan should be implemented in every state of the union. I agree completely. It helps tremendously. Yes. Logan says, I agree. I absolutely agree with you on the matter of school shootings. It is 100% the person being in an unhappy position. It's like these kids think they're in GTA, just trying to get attention or go out with the bang, so to speak. Yes, GTA is hold on. Grand Theft Auto. There we go. See, I'm not that old. I got it. There we go. I love it. Yes, 100%. Kevin says, we are desensitized to mass shootings in Rochester because violence and death is just part of our culture here. That was my point, Kevin, about Chicago. Chicago loses 5 people over weekend, 19, and I don't see a press conference there. The governor's not showing up there. He shows up in Highland Park, though. That one he shows up. Yes. Missy says, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Missy is correct. Please do that. Please do that. Like and comment, subscribe. And of course, if you want to support me traveling across this state, you want to support me in my lawsuits. Oh my God, that I'm being hammered on. Please, LarrySharpe.com/donate. It is time to step up if you can. I'm being hammered horribly. I'm fighting in multiple lawsuits, trying to get myself on the ballot. It is not easy to do. And the Republicans have tons of money. The conservatives have tons of money. Good lawyers too. I have great lawyers also, but great lawyers aren't free. It'd be nice if they were, but they're not. So it costs money. Please help me out. LarrySharpe.com/donate. It does matter. Give what you can give. If you don't just want to give, you want something, go to LarrySharpe.com/shop. Pick up a shirt if you want to. Some of you may not realize I also have a Discord server. So you go to Discord, click that bit.ly link right there in the description, bit.ly/Larry Sharpe Discord. You can check out my Discord server. A lot of stuff going on there too if you want to. I'd love to have you guys over there if you don't mind. And as you always know, I'm very happy if you support my sponsors. So all of that's good. I do appreciate that. Take the Discord server out if you want to. That'd be awesome. All right, let me grab a couple more if I could. All right, let's see here. Kirsten says, it's not uniformly true that cops want to catch bad guys. Many of them want to throw their weight around. I've seen it over and over. Well, I think that's true too, right? Yes, I think there are cops. Look, there are bad cops. There's no doubt. But I just don't believe, and maybe you can show me I'm wrong, I just don't believe that most cops are bad. I don't believe that. Maybe I'm biased because my father was in law enforcement. But look, cops are human beings. There's good ones and bad ones, right? That's how it works. I think if you have a better system, you have better outcomes with better people, whether that's the police system or whether that's, trucking system or the school system. you have better systems, you have better outcomes, and better people. So I think you're right. There are bad cops. Don't get me wrong. There absolutely are. I just think that most cops, I think the average person who joins the police force is doing it for one or two reasons. One, if it's a good job, good for them. Good for them. They want a good government job. That's awesome. Not mad at them for that. Lots of people want good jobs. You have a government job, good for you. Or they think, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to protect people or get the bad guys or something like that. Also nice. Good. I'm glad you want to get bad guys. That's good. Are there some who go, I'm going to go there and beat people up? I'm sure there are. I have a hard time accepting that it's most. And again, I'm open to being wrong. Maybe you can show me some data. Kirsten, I know you're savvy and smart and do a lot of homework. Maybe I'm wrong, but my gut tells me the vast majority of cops respond to their system like every other profession. And most of them, I think, want to do the right thing, want to get bad guys. It's what I think. I'm open to being wrong. But you're right. There are bad cops, of course. Yep. Paula says, we kiss the cops' ass because what the hell else are the politicians going to say? You're not wrong, Paula. She loves her profits and her police force. You're right, Larry. Right, yeah, if you really want to help cops, don't have them write tickets, have them go get bad guys. That's what I'm saying. That's what maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, I'm happy that if I'm wrong, Kirsten, you have proven me wrong in the past. And by the way, Kirsten has proven me wrong in the past. She's done the homework and showed me something. I was like, okay, you're right. I'm off. So I could be off on this one. And I'm happy to be off if I am. If I'm wrong, I will say it. You know I will. Absolutely. Yes. So Kevin says, cops with their lives on the line as innocent citizens, I 100% do the same. And I think a lot of cops do. Right? Again, I think a lot of cops do. Yes. So if you want to help them out, have them do more of that and less tickets. There we go. Have them do more of that and less tickets. Yes. So, all righty. Let's see here. Stephen goes on to say they do the same thing on their war on drugs. Yeah, it's not gonna go well, Stephen. It's not. Stephen goes on to say the crisis, the lack of hope for our children. You have hit it perfectly. That is the crisis. That's the issue. You change that, it changes everything. So Dixie Goes says, name dropping, because that's the pertinent information we all need to hear during a press conference after an event like this. Yeah. They know everyone's watching, so they drop names instead of giving us any information. Did he say something like, stay in your house? I mean, I don't know if you should or not. You know, don't go after this guy because he's got a gun. Or I'm making this stuff up, Dixie. I don't know what the right thing to say would be. But assuming that was, why didn't he say that? I want to tell my citizens, go after this guy, or don't go after this guy, or whatever, call the cops, or, you know, you're safe now, go back out, or whatever, something like that, right? With none of that. That's not it. So, yes. All right. Let's see here if I can keep going on here. Let's see here. Paula goes, New York, if you drive to the polls and vote for Zeldin, you are wasting your vote and your gas money. That's accurate. Which will keep costing more if you keep voting for the one-party Republicans. She's not wrong. Yes. She's not wrong. Absolutely. So, yes. James says, lives were saved. What about the people who died? This is they always say the same thing and people buy it, right? They always say the same thing. Save lives. We did this to save lives. With no data saying that worked. Now, again, maybe it's true. Maybe they did save lives. But great, show me how. Show me how they saved lives. Did you shoot back at him and then he ran away when he was still going to shoot? Did you grab him before he was done shooting and then he escaped? I don't know. What did you do that saved lives? I don't know that's true. It sounds great, but that's it. So, yes, that's it. So, all righty. Let's see here. Tom says, Mr. Sharpe, their only solution is just confiscate everyone's firearms. That's not 99% of the game, of the end game. Here's the issue, Tom. They actually don't want to take all the guns. That's not what they actually want because they know that's not feasible, not possible. What they want to do is slowly ban all the guns. I'm not joking. Slowly ban all the guns. If they slowly ban all the guns, then everyone who has a gun will be a criminal. So as long as you shut up, don't say anything, you're fine. The second you open your mouth, you're a criminal. This is how China does it, by the way. I'm not joking, but not with guns. Believe it or not, China does it with taxes. I'm not joking on this. It's a true story. What China does is China has a tax system that almost no one does pay or could pay. Almost no one does. Few people do, but most don't. So they spend most of the time avoiding taxes and not even worrying about it. Why? Because when they decide to attack you, they simply find out that you didn't pay taxes, because most people don't even know how to and can't. It's a big problem in China, in theory, but in practice, it's not. Since the Chinese government owns a piece of almost every single business, they make their money off the businesses. They don't require as much taxation. It's not required in the way they do business. Since the state is the business, they make money in business. The state gets money. So the tax laws are convoluted and hardly even enforced. The amount of the size of their IRS for 1.4 billion people should be massive. It's not. They're not worried about it. So what happens? You open your mouth, you're a bad guy, you're a dissident, you're a billionaire who won't keep his mouth shut. They investigate, tax fraud, off to jail you go. We can do it with guns here. Tom, you got a gun? You say one thing wrong, don't do the right thing, piss somebody off. What kind of guns you got? Oh, violation, off to jail you go, take your guns. So they're creating a group of people who are guaranteed criminals. So when they target you, which is when you open your mouth, they put you away. So I don't think they're going to confiscate all the guns. I don't think that at all. They're just going to make sure that everyone who owns one is a criminal by default. And when you open your mouth, you go to jail. And they just keep putting leadership away. They keep putting leadership away, right? They just keep putting them away. All leadership that could fight goes away. So you keep cutting the head off of all. You keep cutting the head off of all rebellions. That makes any sense. So that is what I think is the plan. The Chinese do it already. America's doing it now too. Same thing, but just different thing, right? The people who the Chinese fear most are the bourgeoisie coming up and gaining political power. So they create a tax system so they can always arrest those people when they fall out of line. The people Americans are worried about is the people who might actually do something, and you know what I'm talking about, so they can cut those people's heads off. That's the goal. So I hope that makes clear. All right. Let's see. Let's see here. Grab a couple. So many guys. Thank you so much for all the stuff here. I love it. Torrance says, your FBI is behind the chaos. When will Americans stop being cucked by their own elected officials? You think the FBI is behind this? Do you mean that they support it? Or do you mean they're physically making this happen? I mean, I think in many of the larger ones, right? The most recent one that we've been talking about, I think many times you find FBI agents involved in that. That's true. Often goading them on. Absolutely. But individual shooters? Not sure on that one, Torrance. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe, but it seems like a lot for them to be involved in individual shooters versus, the large group things. I'm sure the FBI is involved. I mean, that's guaranteed. But individual shooters, I wonder. It seems like a stretch to me on this one. I may be wrong. I feel like that's a stretch, though, is what I'm saying. So yes. He goes on. Your government engages in the covers. I think he means covering up. And in the covers of radicalization of its own citizens. Oh, so what you're saying is like the FBI is involved in like the websites and such, those types of things. Oh, maybe. Okay. You don't mean specifically that guy doing the thing is an FBI agent. You don't mean that. I see. Huh, that's okay. That's more believable. I see where you're going. Maybe. Okay. I can see that. Yeah, I got it. Yes. I hope I say it right. Chion says the fact that there is no third party option is a joke in itself. That's why Larry should fight that much harder. I'm not done, guys. Come on. For you guys to think that you're not going to be able to vote for me in November is silly. It's silly. Of course you will be able to vote for me in November. Of course. No doubt. 100%. Yes. Of course you will. Yes. I wouldn't be doing this and sacrificing a year of work and spending all this money on lawyers and legal issues so I could just go, I'm done. Stop. No way. No way. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Let's see here. I think is Chris saying something about? I don't know. All right. And And then Big Rich says, Larry Sharpe for Governor of New York. Thank you, my friend. I do appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Joel says, people in New York will stop jumping through the gun regulations hoops and just be illegal gun. Yes. No. Thank you, Joel. This was my point earlier. You're exactly correct, which means they'll all be illegal. So that when they decide that Joel's talking too much, Joel's one of those guys, they can just come after you, find the illegal guns. Remember, every time they catch a guy who has a gun, think about what they actually say, the words they use. They never say like, oh, Joel, he had, 2 pistols and some ammunition. They don't say that. He had an arsenal. He had a cache of weapons, right? It's always that way. And you might say you have 2 pistols. He had a cache of semi-automatic weapons. He had 2 pistols, right? But they don't say 2 pistols. Cache of semi-automatic weapons. That's what they'll say. So, oh my God, clearly Joel's insane. He's ready to kill people. And say you got 1,500 rounds and thousands of rounds, right? That's what they'll say. It'll act like you're just, oh, he's clearly a nut, so we can put him in jail. And that's what they're doing, right? That's what they're actually doing. You are completely correct. That's the problem. Yes. So, all righty. Ian says, alcohol sales spiked 300% in the first 30 days of lockdowns. Ian, thank you for bringing that up. And opioids are still an epidemic cause of death. But media stopped talking about that. Yes, yes, and yes. Because the problem's guns, Ian. Not the problem that we got an alcoholism and an opioid addiction issue in our nation. We have addiction issues. Why? People searching to escape. Literally, people, video games, you name it. People are searching to escape. And I don't blame them. I get it. When you see no hope, when you see things going bad, when nothing seems to work, yeah, you want to escape. And eventually you jump down some hole, and Torrance is saying the FBI is pushing you down some hole. Maybe they are, right? They push you down some hole. And all of a sudden now you're like, you know what the right answer is? Doing this on 4th of July. That's the right answer. Yes. You're completely correct. Thank you for bringing that up. 100%. Yes. Hold on. Tom says AR-15s and other so-called assault rifles are illegal in Highland Park. Oh, is that right, Tom? There we go. Already. Yes. So, Kristen says, in New York, they made sure alcohol stores were still open and legalize alcohol deliveries. Yes. Oh, you're right. That's right. They were considered essential. That's correct. Booze stores were considered essential. It proves they really wanted. Yeah. Let's keep you quiet. Yes. Absolutely. I love that. Let me see. Keep one out here. Let's see here. Chris says, her being a vet is justification for every belief she has. Every press conference. Yeah, I know. Look, I'm not against vets. I'm a vet. I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps. You don't see me talking about it every single day. Right? I don't know because I'm a vet. I'm a vet. You don't see me talking about it every day. I am a veteran. I'm proud to be a veteran. I'm proud I was a Marine. I'm still a Marine in my heart. So it never goes away. Of course. It's not every single day. You shouldn't be watching me because I'm a Marine. The fact that I'm a Marine should, I would hope, give me greater insight that would make you feel like I might make sense. I hope that's true. I hope the fact that I'm a Marine is one aspect of why you watch. I hope that's true. But I hope you're not watching just because I'm a Marine. I mean, there's lots of Marines out there. So, yes, absolutely. So, let's see here. Kevin says, how do we fight the epidemic of gun violence if we don't control the state systems and resources? By making happier people. Absolutely. Yes. Ian goes on, murder is wrong unless it's done to the sound of trumpets. Ooh, Voltaire. Nicely done. Absolutely. Yes. Kevin says, incels are the reason why I'm far more terrified of the alt-right than the radical left. Ooh, interesting point. Are the people who are killing each other, who are out there killing others, are they more alt-right or radical left? I actually don't know the answer to that question. Recently, what we've seen in the media, they've clearly been far further right than left. My worry is the media covering radical lefts doing it too? I actually don't know. But if you just go by media, without question, it's alt-right more than radical left, doing mass shootings. I just know what I don't know what the actual data is. It's good. It's a good point. I don't know. It's a good one. I'm sure someone will tell me. But yeah, that's if you look at the media, I get, of course, if you look at the media, 100% you should be more afraid of the right. It makes sense because the media reports on that far more than the left. But there's lefties too. I mean, the guy in the subway here in New York City who shot 11 people, he was a radical leftist. So you do find left also. I don't know, but you don't hear that. People don't even talk. You're right. The media didn't even talk about that. Well, I'm not sure. You made me think, Kevin. I hope someone else will let me know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's media bias or if it's real, right? It could be real. It could be the alt-right's more violent than the radical left. That may be true. I don't know that. But the press clearly shows that. Who knows if it's true? Yes. All right. Chip says, you're right, Larry. It's all about the political futures. Yes. Absolutely it is. Yes. Absolutely. So Kevin goes on, the professional rhinos are opposing you. 100% true. Yes, absolutely. Christian goes on to say, I get in so many arguments with Republicans that we have to pool our votes to be Hochul, and voting for you pulls from them. Okay, let me be clear about that for you guys who are in New York State. Just so you're clear, for those of you in New York State, there was an election last week. That election was primaries for both the Republicans and the Democrats. In the Democratic primary in New York State, which is open to all Democrats, and the Republican primary, open to all Republicans. And if you listen to the Republicans, they will tell you, this is our year. We got to get out there. We could win. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is the year. Everyone's excited. Watch what's going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. That's what they say. Democrats got to stop those Republicans. Blah, blah. You hear it all the time. Whatever. Of course, rhetoric on both sides. 3 people ran the Democratic Party. 3-way race. Kathy Hochul won that race. 4 people ran in the Republican race. Lee Zeldin won that race. Kathy Hochul, in her 3-way race, alone got more votes than all of the 4 Republican candidates combined. Let me say it again. Kathy Hochul, in her 3-way race, alone, she got more votes than all 4 of the Republicans combined. If this was the year when Republicans were going to rush out and vote and care, wouldn't they have voted in the primary if they cared so much? They had 4 people to vote for. Wouldn't they have rushed out and done it? This was the year? It's not the year. It's not. There's simply too many Democrats in this state. It's almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican in New York State. 3-1. If every registered Republican came out and voted for Zeldin, never going to happen. But if that happened, they still couldn't win. They might lose by 5 points instead of by 30 points. That would be the difference. They're still losing probably by 20 or 30 points. That's been happening for 20 years in this state. Every Republican who's watching or listening, or if you know them who think this, the people who are saying that are either delusional or lying to you. Now, when it comes to the establishment Republican Party, they are lying to you. They are lying to take your money so they can sue me to get me off the ballot, and so they can line their pockets with millions of dollars to keep their consultants happy, to pay for all their goodies, and to live a great lifestyle while you suffer. That is what they're doing. And if you're a Republican in New York State, and I'm talking New York State, if you're a Republican in New York State giving money to Republicans, you are allowing them to do that to you. You are getting bent over and saying, thank you, sir, may I have another? That's what you're doing. You could stop if you want to, because here's what's going to happen. Lee Zeldin is going to lose in November, and you're never going to hear from him again. He's already raised like $12 million. He will put millions in his own pocket. He will somehow raise money other ways. He will give money away to stay relevant in the Republican Party. You will never hear from him again. How do you know that? You don't hear from anybody else again who's run. They run and they go away. They take your money and they leave. But what guy do you still hear from? Have you been hearing from 5 years, and still running? This guy right here. This guy. Still giving you answers. Still telling you what to do. Still telling you how you can fix things. Still caring about this state. This guy. This is the only investment. That's it. Everything else is a waste of your time, money, and energy. This is the only investment. LarrySharpe.com/donate. Here's the funny part, Kristen. If the Republicans were smart, if they really wanted to beat Kathy Hochul, all they would do is say, you know what? That whole thing with the Zeldin, it's just kidding. We're gonna put our $5 million, $8 million behind Larry Sharpe. You put $8 million behind me, I am the governor, guaranteed. And I'm so sure of that. If you put $8 million behind me, I would bet you $8 million that I would win. That's how sure I'd be. I'll bet you $8 million. If I lose, I'll get $8 million. If I win, you'll be another 8 for my next run. Done. That's how sure I am of that. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. Gene says, when my husband lost his job due to government lockdowns, we lost our health insurance. Oh my God, yes. I was infuriated when people used my hardship to advocate for government control of healthcare. Get the government out of our healthcare. Government ruins everything it controls. Yes, yes, and yes. And this, I'm going to point up, Gene, because there were people who needed mental health, and they lost their healthcare too. They need mental health care, and they lost that too. Terrible. Nothing but pain. Nothing but hurt. And we wonder why we have people on the streets who have mental problems who are doing terrible things. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Kevin says, thank you for reading my comments. Of course, I try my best to reach out to people all the time. 100%. Yes. All right. Paula says, it's a quote from Chesty Puller. Again, one of the most famous Marine generals of all time. Don't forget that you're first Marines. Not all the communists in hell can overrun you. That, by the way, is a quote from the Korean War, right? The first Marines were stuck in North Korea at the Frozen Chosin, which was a reservoir in North Korea. And the Chinese had just entered the war, and the Chinese had sent their units across the Yalu River to attack the UN forces. All of the UN forces broke and ran, except the first Marines. We were the only ones. We held out in the Chosin Reservoir, also known in Marine Corps history as Frozen Chosin, because it was so cold, it was in the winter. And we slowly got up and we marched towards the sea, and we fought our way back to the sea. We did not surrender or break and run. Organized fall back to the sea. We fell back to the sea, and that was because the Chinese could not overrun us. Thank you for that story, Paul. Yes, I know my Marine Corps history. Of course I do. Yes, 100%. Juan Ayala, how are you, sir? When MAD went to fight for new drunk driving laws, they didn't go after cars. We don't have more gun control laws. We need to recognize that we have a generation of lost suicidal young men that need guidance and purpose in life. Yes, yes, and yes. You're right. MAD didn't go after they didn't go after cars. You're right. They didn't go after the weapon. They went after the people. You're correct. Which is what you should do. I agree. 100%. Yes. So, all righty. Let's see here. If I grab a couple more. Hold on. Kurt says, absolutely, it's so gross. I've been a single mom for 16 years, supporting my kids solely, and the dad gets up every time. Yes. Over 2,000 arrears, one kid turned 18. I'll never see it. Yes. The reason why this works so horribly is because if you lie, you're rewarded. So the deadbeat dad says, oh, I don't have any money, and he's hiding it, and he's living in his mom's house or whatever, and the judge goes, okay, you're lying, whatever, and the deadbeat dad doesn't have to give anything and gets away with it. The dad who actually cares goes, no, I do have money. Here's the money I have. And the lawyers and the judge say, give me all of it. So the dad who's trying to help gets hammered, and the deadbeat dad gets off. That's the system. This is not a good system. It does not work well at all. At all. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. Danny goes, maybe forget control at the state level. Go lower and deeper. More local. My opinion, localism is the goal, which is another reason why I support Larry. I agree with that, right? The more local, the better. It isn't perfect, Danny, of course. I mean, there will be people who will screw up locally. People are human beings. We make mistakes. Some of us are knuckleheads. It happens, right? It does happen. But if it happens locally, it's just locally. So the amount of damage is less. So there's less harm. That's something. But not just that. Now, other groups locally can assist and help them and learn. So localism, while not perfect, is, in my view, always better. It's going to be better without question. Yes. So, OG Box says, watching not because you are USMC, but it helps Air Force, and I might not be watching as much. That's actually good. I like that. Yes. That's very good. Yes. That is good. All right. Grab some more. I appreciate that. So Shelley says, I think that Anthony Delgado was a great choice for lieutenant governor because he has disappointed every single Democrat in the state. It's a point, right? Delgado, a lot of people don't like him. So I'm sure he's happy that actually popped up. He might have lost his election. So I'm sure he's happy to go do that. So yes, absolutely. Let's see. Ian says, Larry's why returned to the LP. Howard Stern was why I left. I do like that. He's considering running, I heard, as a Democrat. I heard he's going to run as a Democrat. So yes. James says, could we see a Sharpe Hawkins ticket? I got to tell you, I'm going to give you some inside baseball. I'll give you guys a bit of inside baseball. When I was first considering running here, I was trying my best to go out of my way to create as many coalitions as I could, right? And that included the Green Party if I could. And I actually asked if the Green Party had a candidate they may want to put on my ticket. I assume maybe as AG, because the Green Party and Libertarian Party, we don't really overlap on that much, but we do overlap close, very close on criminal justice. So I thought maybe an AG candidate or maybe a senatorial candidate or something. When I was thinking, my mind was open. I was open to an idea of a joint ticket in some way, shape, or form. I don't think Libertarian Party could have gone with a Green Party lieutenant governor unless that Green Party candidate was very libertarian. And I'm not sure we could have had one, to be forward with you. But I was open to the idea. Green Party was not. They were not open. I was like, why don't we all just petition together? Let's create a coalition ticket and let's petition together. If we pool our resources, I wouldn't be in court right now, right? If we could pool our resources, right? Because I would have had such a huge, it would have worked amazingly. I tried to get Unite to get on my side. Unite decided we don't want to do that. We want to go with Harry Wilson, who's going to abandon us as soon as possible. They did that too. So I was open to coalitions. I was open to making something like that happen. Nobody else was. I was the only guy doing it. And the sad part is, when it comes November, I'm going to be the only guy they can vote for. Everyone else, gone. That's going to happen. But their loss. I mean, mine too, because I think we could have done a whole lot more, right? I think we could have if we'd worked together. But people just, they didn't want to do it, right? They really didn't want to do it. So, yes. So anyway, I'm sorry. I hope that answered your question at least. I know there's yeah. Kevin says, what do all your voters call themselves? I don't know. Sometimes I call them Larrytarians. Sometimes Sharpies. Maybe that's good. I like that too. That's not bad. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Logic Rex says, haha, that's because the entire UN except for the Americans first were pansies. I like that. It's good. Yes. That is funny. I do think that's funny. That's good. That is good. So that's very good. Larry, what's your take on recent polling suggesting most people identify as independent? I think that's been clear for a long time. And this is the reason why they want to keep me off the ballot. Here's the reality. When I get on the ballot, I'm going to get all the independent votes. Everyone who doesn't like Republicans, Democrats is going to vote for Larry Sharpe. And they know that. They're aware of that. That means at a minimum, hundreds of thousands of votes. At a minimum, if not a million. They don't want that. They do not want third parties getting in the way. Since Ross Perot changed everything. We do that, and the next thing will happen, which is what Be Vegan Now talks about, which is ranked choice voting. Once we have ranked choice voting, it will change everything. You will see it change everything. That is the key. Ranked choice voting is the key. Ian goes on to say New York City is overwhelming Democrat. Yep, it's 6-1, by the way, Ian. 6-1 Democrat to Republican. The state is skewed 3-1 in Dems' favor. That's why the R's have no chance statewide anymore. The last R to win New York was Pataki. That's correct. That was 2002, literally 20 years ago. Absolutely, 100%. I like that. So, all right. If I can, guys, I want to say, if I could, thank you so much for everything you guys have done. I do appreciate that. Please, as always, if you can, like, comment, and share. If you want to donate, please do so. LarrySharpe.com/donate. Every dollar counts. I am in multiple lawsuits trying to get my beautiful self on the ballot so that we have an actual choice besides the two people who we know the outcome already is the same. We know the outcome. We can change that outcome if we get on. You want to buy something? Shop. LarrySharpe.com/shop. That always works. Join my Discord. Please join my Discord. It's that bit.ly link right there /Larry Sharpe Discord. That is a great thing if you want to. And of course, I ask you all the time, support my sponsors of the show. Take the world's smallest political quiz and share it into other groups. whether that's on someone else's, comment thread, whether that's in a Facebook group, whether it's in a Twitter message, whatever. Say, hey, look, if you really think you're this, lefty or righty, take this quiz. See if you really are. Maybe you are, but maybe you're not. Take this quiz. It does matter. Please do that. And it's free. And liking and commenting and sharing is free. And by the way, you can take this show and you can share this link in other, like if you're on Kathy Hochul's social media, you're on Lee Zeldin's media, you can share this link and these links in those media if you want to. You can share LarrySharpe.com in these links if you want to. Happen all the comments. Happy to do that. It's not a bad deal if you want to. Happy if you can, of course. Every little bit you can give does help. Guys, thank you so much for today. I appreciate the time you gave me. For all you people who are Americans watching, I'm sure most of you are Americans. Not all of you are, but I'm sure most of you are Americans. Happy birthday. It is our birthday. It's time for us to reflect. We've been making a lot of mistakes recently, and our family is falling apart. We have to bring our family back together. Yelling and screaming is not going to help. Trying to make the other guy bad is not going to help. It is time, as one of you said, for some love and some understanding. And I'm trying my best to make that happen. Thank you guys. Have a great night.